Hello and welcome. You heard the name Rolls Royce. Let's try and understand what the company is doing in India and what, more importantly, it plans to do in the coming year. I'm joined by Kishore Jayaraman, who heads the Rolls Royce in India and the region. Kishore, thank you very much for joining us. So, tell us what's happening on the engines and the infrastructure side that's looking interesting to you, and in the context of the opportunities there are.
Okay. As you do very well know, I think Govind, Rolls Royce has been here in this country for a long time in terms of aerospace. We've been here for almost, I would say, 80 years, 80 plus years now. We have done joint ventures, we have done technology transfers, we have done capability building in this country. So it's been a rich, history with India that we have had, and I think we have to evolve with time. I think if Rolls Royce wants to be relevant over the next 80 years in this country, I think there's a lot of evolution that we need to do, not revolution, but definitely evolution that we need to do, and we are in that journey today. Okay. And Rolls Royce is in two major segments. One is aerospace, the other one is MIPS, as we call it, Marine Industrial Production Systems. And I think in terms of aerospace, we are in civil aerospace and defense aerospace. And I think in defense aerospace, we have been in this country the longest. And we have a healthy partnership with HAL, right? And that partnership has translated to producing components for engines out of India for the globe.
The Trent engines.
The Trent engines. And it has also proven that we can leverage the Indian human capital, and we can leverage the technologies and capabilities locally available in order to produce for the world. So it is a proven thing. And what else it proved the best was a partnership, a JV with a public sector unit, and how successful it can be.
Right. So you're also doing a lot of R&D work in India with TCS and Quest.
So we're doing
what's
TCS.
Next? Yeah.
So TCS and Quest, we have leveraged the capabilities that is available in this country in terms of services, engineering services. And now we have to leverage the IT BPO segment in India. We have to look at the design and the development capabilities that exist in this country. And we have to be looking at how do we increase our manufacturing footprint in this country, right? I think that's into the future. In short, I think the future is going to be about designing and development, co-development, collaboration, however you want to call it, creating supply chain infrastructures, capabilities in this country, becoming an integral part of this fabric. And I think the third most important piece is to continue to figure out how to evolve with this country.
Mm-hmm. So where is Rolls-Royce going in that sense? I mean, as you know, engine manufacturers also talk about the services aspect. What role can India play, or which are the sort of holes where India will plug into the Rolls-Royce future, as it were?
Yeah. We keep talking about just aerospace, right? But I would like to sort of talk about both aerospace as well as the marine and the industrial products division. And I think in the marine and industrial products division, we can supply to the infrastructure, right? So you got the energy infrastructure, you have the coal mines, you have the mining sector that we can participate in. We have the naval sector, Coast Guard sector, all the marine activities. So in all those sectors, there's already lots of capabilities because of the auto industry in this country. We have to figure out how to develop further from what has already been learned in that area and take our products further into these markets.
Can you give me an illustration?
For example, if I take our MTU engines, our latest acquisition that we have completed totally, I think if you take that product, it fits in very well with the mining industry. It fits in extremely well in the power sector, right? It'll fit very well for the distributed generation of the power sector that I think is the future in this country, right? It'll be recip engines with the highest amount of efficiencies using natural gas or other fuels, and making sure that we are able to create a segment where it is not going to be base load plants. It's going to be distributed smaller plants.
How small is small?
100 megawatts, 200 megawatts, you can scale it up. So what we need to eventually evolve into is the ability to adjust ourselves to the demand. A base load generates 2,000 megawatts, fine, you shut off. The worst is you get up to 300, 400 megawatts. A distributed generation, you can get it down to about 20 megawatts.
Right. So, which in some ways brings me to my next question. So, what are the kind of pipeline issues that are you seeing or encountering on the power and the power infrastructure side, and what needs to be done to?
The challenge has been fuel. I think in the power sector, I think it's no secret. I think it's a fuel that's stopping progress. I think there are idling plants that needs to first be revived, and I think that's the first thing for which they need fuel. And once that clarity comes, then what will happen is your existing capabilities are utilized, and then you have to build more capacities. And when you build more capacities, I think we need to be thinking about how to make it more productive and not just build capacities. It's easy to build capacities, but it's very hard to build relevant capacities. And I think that's going to be very important as the power sector evolves.
Okay, can you define relevant again? Is
relevant
it a distribution related?
Yeah,
okay.
Yes, because what happens relevant is do you really need to have another base load plant? Or do we do another peak load plant? Or we do another microgrid distributed generation that kind of takes us away from the central grids? Right? Once you start doing that, you start going more into renewables, you start going into more capability development that is very relevant to that particular pocket that you want to address. Right? And today we have fantastic baseload power generation capabilities. It's just lacking fuel.
Right. What's the other things that Rolls-Royce is looking at bringing into India?
Sure. What we want to do in the aerospace side now, if I look at the aerospace, we feel that we want to co-develop in this country. We feel that the next generation, whatever, whether it be advanced medium combat aircraft, or whether it be other types of aircraft, regional transport aircraft, we feel that we can contribute a lot by designing and developing and collaborating with the Indian companies, whether that be the government PSUs or whether that be private companies in this country. We are willing to come here and work with them, develop that technology, and manufacture the technology here, and figure out if that technology can be taken out to the globe. So that's a very, very important thought process that we have within the company, and we're very serious about that, and we really are hoping we can achieve something soon.
Any thoughts on thoughts or new themes on the Indo-British corridor on partnership?
The thing is that yes, the Mumbai-Bangalore corridor is the Indo-British corridor, but what we need to figure out there is, for us in that corridor, what we can do is, as cities develop, we can participate in the power generation side of things. That's where we add the most value there. And I think as infrastructure develops, and like I said, being an aerospace company and being focused on the marine side and the power side, propulsion side, there is a certain area we can participate in. I think if the corridor comes alive, the smart cities come alive in the corridors, then we'll participate in the power generation side of things. When infrastructure is created for airports and infrastructure is created for aircraft, then we'll participate in the aerospace sector. But eventually what we also are trying to do is build the supply chain capabilities out of this country. Because initially, if you want to build an engine, I think you need to figure out if there are people who can make the components for the engine. There's no point in importing the components and assembling something here. There is a point, provided it's extremely vast local market. But on the other side, if you want to tap into a global market, you need to have the capabilities to build the components. And you maybe make about 50% of the components for the engine, then you start thinking about assembling an engine. Then you look at the markets, then you look at the capabilities. You have you build from a good foundation. And that's what we're trying to do, is that foundation has to be very strong for us.
Right. So let me ask you one last very sort of conceptual question. What's your sort of engine of the future look like? Your engine of the future?
I think we have talked about incremental evolution of the Trent. So we got the Airbus 330 Neos with our Trent 7000 engines, and it's in the airline industry. For the engine, it is extremely important. It's about efficiency. It's about reliability, right? And I think in terms of efficiency, the price of fuel never goes down. If there's one thing that's common between fuel and gold, it's like the price only goes up. Even gold sometimes comes down. But the point is, if the fuel costs keep increasing, I think we have to work on efficiency. We are working on that. I think so that is very critical for us. Alternate fuels, looking at biofuels, which is still futuristic. But we are participating in programs.
We've had a flight or two already.
Exactly. But the point is, for them to really come into a commercial side, it's going to take some time. But today's world, we are focused on building more efficient products. We are building products that are more reliable, right? Our Trent engine, over the last 15, 20 years, we have improved the efficiency by about 15%, 1% per year almost. Over the next 10 years, we will improve it by another 10%. So you have at each percentage point, even 0.1%, it's huge savings for the airlines. And that is what we'll focus on. We'll continue to do that.
And on that happy note that you're keeping us safe in the skies and ensuring efficient journeys, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.